Hey, house guests, welcome to today's BBCan 10 updates and spoilers. Let's get a little less headroom there. Welcome. It's been a wild ride today. I can barely keep up with what's been going on these live feeds, and I've been working on them all day. But anyway, our house guests of the day are Jason Morales and Alan Houston. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Woo! And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that's another fantastic way to support our channel. So Indie Girl and Jefferson Tucker, thank you both so much for your super chats. And Jefferson's here again today. Jefferson says Frenchie must have moved from Tennessee to Toronto. This HOH is one big mess. I know. It really is a disaster. I think Kyle needs a nap. I don't like it's really bad. We're gonna get into it, but thank you, Jefferson, as always, for the super chat. So last night, Jay, let's set the scene here. Last night, Jay was evicted by a vote of 11-2. I was really sad to see them go, but they weren't very good at this game. And the two rogue votes were Kyle and Herman. Who do you think they were trying to frame? I would assume Jess and Josh, but the feeds were down like all day yesterday leading up to the eviction. So I'm not 100% sure what their plan was. We have some more details that we'll get to in a bit, but definitely an interesting situation. We also saw in last night's episode, no secret door this week for the surviving nominee. Sorry, Betty, you were on the block, and for what? She didn't even get a reward after that, but we all got the prize of seeing Ika and Dimitri's get engaged. Yay! Congratulations again to them. And then we saw that Kyle won HOH. Get ready for a prolific HOH. Ah! We also found out that Canada had the opportunity to vote to give one house guest safety, which we don't know who that is yet, but we should know by the end of today. So that's exciting. Who did you all vote for? I voted for Betty. We'll see what happens. But anyway, the feeds came back after the show ended. And keep in mind that the evictions are not live. So the house guests were already chilling for hours after the taping ended. So we missed a lot of post-eviction stuff. But Betty was alone in the purple bedroom, and she says, the one effing person that I didn't want to win HOH won. Yeah. I mean, Kyle has been talking for days now about wanting to nominate Betty. This is why I voted for Betty to win safety. So Betty says, this is so bad for my game. It'd be so easy for Kyle to put me up as a pawn next to Jess, and then Jess could easily win the power veto, take themselves down, and then I am so screwed. But you know what? Maybe Betty will get the safety from Canada, or maybe other things will happen and other people will make themselves targets. It's about to get crazy. All right, so Kyle and Marty were chatting in the HOH room, and Marty is talking about wanting to backdoor Josh this week because he is worried that Josh would target him. He thinks that Josh is playing both sides. And I think it's important to note here, Marty is not aligned with Josh. So I don't know what this both sides thing is coming from Marty, but Kyle is in the Savage 7 with Josh. So that's interesting. But it sounds like Marty is also souring on Herman, which is so weird because Marty was like asking Herman to be in a final 2 with him last week, and it really seemed like Marty was looking at Herman as like his right-hand man. It was really weird. But yeah, now Marty is thinking that Herman is playing with the guys on one side and has something going on with the other side. So yeah, Marty is saying that he thinks Herman, Betty, Summer, Tanisha, and Josh are all working together. He's close. I mean, all of the people that he listed are in the Savage 7 with Kyle, except for Betty. So yeah, he's onto something there. But Marty says that he would like to see Betty and Josh up on the block. So Kyle confirms, yes, he's definitely nominating Betty this week, but he's not sure who to put up there next to her. So he says, if I put up Jess next to Betty and Jess wins the power veto, the back door will be wide open. For whom? Or who? I don't know. I don't remember the whom rules, whatever. But that's interesting. So meanwhile, Gino and Herman are chatting in the red bedroom. And just a side note here, Gino got one of the worst Big Brother haircuts I've ever seen. I don't know who did this to him, but they need to be held responsible because it is so bad. I want to say it was Kyle and Moose who did this. It's really bad. It's like this weird bowl cut with like the back shaved like halfway up his head. It's really, really not good. Really, really bad. Okay, so back to this conversation between Gino and Herman. It sounds like Herman is having a hard time keeping all of his alliances straight because he's in the boys group, he's in the Savage Seven, he's in the retreat. So Herman is bringing up how this is getting complicated because Marty, for example, wants to target Josh, but they're good with him. You know, they're in the Savage Seven with Josh, and they agree that Josh, yeah, he'll be a threat down the line, but they've got bigger fish to fry right now. They are working with him for now. So Herman is really hoping that the Savage Seven can get to, say, like the final 10 or final 9, and then he thinks it would be time to take a shot at a player like Josh. I don't see the alliance lasting to final 10 or final 9. Not with the way that things are going right now. So Herman also mentions maybe we can get Summer and Tanisha to take out Steph and JC-Lynn because Herman does not want to be the one to do that. He's working with them in the retreat. So he wants to stay on good terms with them. So Herman says, you know, we could just like strong arm our way through the game with just the boys and see how far we could go as like the obvious targets. Or we can stick with the Savage Seven and finesse things a bit. I mean, honestly, Herman is making a lot of sense. Like, as much as I hate big alliances like this, wouldn't somebody in one of those big alliances want to like stick with it to give themselves the best chance of making it far into the game? So Gino is kind of nervous that Tanisha would take a shot at the boys the first chance that she gets. And Herman's like, I don't know about the first chance. Herman thinks that if Tanisha or Summer were to win HOH in the next week or two, they wouldn't take a shot at the boys. It would be too soon to do that. They still need the numbers. But after that, they might go for it. All right. So Herman is pushing again. They need to stick with the Savage Seven for now, for a few more weeks at least. So then they talk about the eviction vote that they just had. And Herman is saying, oh, I think the rogue vote was Jess. We know it was you. Ah! So Gino agrees. And he's like, who else would do it? And Herman is saying, well, I asked Jess if it was them. And Jess said, no, someone is trying to frame them. Yes, that someone is Herman. This is interesting. First of all, Gino doesn't know that Herman did this rogue vote. Also, they didn't talk about the second vote, which makes it seem like Kyle was the one, he like planned his rogue vote and told his allies about it. But then like Herman decided to do one secretly, and he's keeping this from his close allies. That's very interesting. What's going on there? But anyway, Kyle was holding one-on-one chats in his HOH room. So we're just going to talk about the more interesting ones. So Kyle's talking to Kevin, and Kyle is again saying Betty is definitely going up on the block, and then maybe Jess next to Betty. So Kevin says, putting up Jess would be easy. But is that what you want? You want easy, Kyle? So Kyle says his priority this week is to set himself up for the next few weeks. He is expecting people to promise him safety until jury. What? Usually people are expecting their fellow house guests to promise like 1, maybe 2 weeks of safety, but he's expecting safety until jury from everybody. That's freaking nuts. That's like a little bit greedy, in my opinion. But anyway, we find out that Kyle will be taking Kevin to Wendy's, so they didn't want to go through all of their game talk right now when they have Wendy's to look forward to. But they get back to talking about the nominations, and Kyle says Jess has a really chance of staying if they go up on the block because they're a comp beast, and they proved that in week 1. So Kyle's like, what do you think about Jess? Are you aligned with Jess at all? Do you like Jess? Kevin, we know, is working with Jess, but that's on the down low. So Kevin says, I don't like Jess, but I don't think that they would put me up on the block. So Kevin is low key putting in work for Jess here, trying to keep them off the block. Kevin says Jess is completely lost in this game. And Kyle's like, you think so? You really think so? And Kevin says, yeah, I think Jess has it slightly worse than I do. So then Kyle says, well, it's complicated because one part of me really wants to work with Jess, but then the other part of me thinks that Jess needs to go immediately. They're hella smart, they're hella strong, but they do have like a really bad social game. I gotta say though, Jess has been stepping up the social game in the last week. Kevin says, I don't think Jess would be able to swing numbers on their side, so I don't think you have to worry about them too much. But Kyle's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm so good with everybody else. Everyone loves me. He didn't say that, but like he basically said that. So Kevin is telling Kyle, talk to Jess, see what they say, and then go from there. All right. Meanwhile, Betty is checking in with JC-Lynn, and Betty's like, you know what? Those rogue votes against me don't really matter. Someone was probably just trying to spice things up. Yep. I mean, in the long run, does Betty really care about something like that? I think it's more of a gut punch to somebody that is going to be framed for that, not necessarily the person that's on the block. I mean, it was such a landslide vote. I don't think she really cares. But they discussed the possibility of a guys alliance. Is this legit, or was Jay just trying to stir stuff up before they were evicted? It's legit. Believe it. So they were trying to figure out like who could actually be in this guys alliance if it's for real. And Betty is thinking, well, it could be Marty, Gino, and Kyle because they've been super obvious, and then like a dotted line to Moose. And JC-Lynn's like, yeah, maybe Herman could be involved in it too. And it's interesting how much they picked up on like Moose kind of being involved, but like also kind of being on the outs of that. Yeah, they're spot on with that. So they discuss Steph. Neither of them really know where Steph's head is at. Where Steph's head is at. Every conversation with her seems to be surface level, and they feel like there's not really getting anything from her. And they also say she's kind of cringy. Woo! So JC-Lynn is advising Betty, when you go and talk to Kyle, you need to offer him safety because he told me that's what he wants to hear from people. And Betty's like, oh yeah, 100%. I will offer him safety, even though it's an effing lie. Betty will go after Kyle if she gets power. But oh my God, she's saying this in front of JC-Lynn. Be careful. So JC-Lynn promises she's not going to F Betty over with that information. You better not. But she thinks that Kyle is going to try and make a big move with his HOH this week. And she's like, targeting either of us would not be a big move. So we shouldn't really have to worry that much this week. Okay. So then Betty goes to the HOH for her chat with Kyle. And apparently Kyle had already owned up to his rogue vote because Betty was already thanking him for being honest. And she says, someone else out there is lying to my face. It's Herman. So then Betty starts kissing some major ass as planned. She's telling Kyle, you're not my target. You've never been my target. I can be a number on your side and help you take out a bigger target. Like, I'll vote however you want if you keep me off the block this week. And if I win HOH next week or the week after, I'm not putting you up because, again, you're not my target. So Kyle says, cool, thanks. I still have to think about everything. He says he will be giving the nominees a heads up before the ceremony, and it won't be a blindside. That didn't sound great for Betty. So after, Betty has a quick conversation with Jess, and Betty reports that chat with Kyle, all surface level. She's pretty sure she's going up on the block, and she thinks that Jess may be going up with her, with Jess as the target. So Jess says, fun. All right, so then it's Jess's turn to go to the HOH room to talk to Kyle. And these are just some highlights because this conversation was pretty long. But Jess says, look, I'm on an island. I can be an asset to your game. If I won HOH, you would not have been a target for me. And then Jess says, a lot of people seem to think that they're safe with you this week. So if you're working with a big ass group, that's fine. But it can't be summer camp this whole time. Okay. So Kyle is admitting that he thinks that Jess could be the best player in this whole house. So he's like, you're super smart. You're really good at competitions, blah, blah, blah. You're creative. Excuse me. So Jess is like, how do I convince you to work with me? Kyle's like, I don't know. You're just so strong. Yikes. And he says, I don't know how we can work together. He says he like has this vision that he keeps seeing in his head of Jess winning HOH and taking him out. He feels like Jess would be the one to take him out. So yeah, again, Kyle is saying he doesn't know what he's going to do. He will not warn the nominees beforehand. And Jess says, all right, well, if I go up on the block, I'm going to take that to mean that you don't want to work with me. And then it's game on. If I don't go up, you're golden in my books. And Kyle says, I'm not going to backdoor you. There's no way I'm going to do that. If I put you up, it will be as one of the initial nominees or not at all. I just have to say, like, how could Jess not target Kyle moving forward after this conversation? Kyle was basically like, it's either me or you in this game. So that was a lot. I feel like that's not a conversation that you have with someone and then not nominate them. It's a lot. So then after, Tanisha and Summer each had their one-on-ones with Kyle separately, and they were both pushing, oh, I feel really good with Savage 7. I want to keep working with the group. And at one point, Kyle asked Summer, who are you not feeling great about? Who are you suspicious of? And Summer says, Steph, because I heard that she said I'm playing the game too hard, and I would probably put her up if I won HOH. Summer also mentions in this conversation that JC-Lynn doesn't even like Steph. Like, a lot of people are not feeling Steph at this point. Excuse me. I'm a mess, just like Kyle. Not in the same way, though. So then Kyle talks to Gino next, and it's like, okay, let's hear the real game plan now, because you know that Kyle is going to be truthful with Gino. So Kyle says, the retreat. How much longer do you see that alliance going for? And just a reminder, the retreat is Kyle, Gino, Herman, JC-Lynn, and Steph. So Gino says, not much longer, to be honest. So Kyle's like, I'm thinking about targeting Steph. What? Oh my God, it's so random. I feel like Jamae right now. Kyle says, I feel like the Savage 7 can get us to the jury, so I don't want to go after anyone in that alliance right now. And he says people have been dropping Steph's name to me. We were only aligned with Steph for numbers. You know, the retreat was not a serious alliance for the guys. So Kyle is saying he wants to put Steph up on the block with Betty, with Steph being the target. So then Gino says, you know what? To be honest, it's not a bad move. And you know what? He's right. It's a terrible move. Oh my God. Yes, it's hilarious to watch, but this is a terrible move for Kyle's game, in my opinion. You're really going to take out one of your own numbers this early in the game when you could easily go for Jess or Betty, who are coming for your ass. This is hilarious to me. But Kyle thinks that he can trust Jess for now. And he says, Jess promised me the world if I don't put them up on the block this week. And it was kind of interesting because I don't remember if it was this conversation or a different one. Kyle was talking about this proposed deal with Jess. and basically saying like Jess would still be going after big players, but not me, suckers. So basically saying like Jess might still go after like Gino or Herman or something, but as long as it's not Kyle, he's fine with that. Damn. Okay. So Gino seems on board with the plan to get rid of Steph this week. And Kyle also talked to Herman and Moose about it last night, and they seemed on board with it. I guess Herman was like a little bit skeptical about it. Not sure he wants to be targeting anybody from any of their alliances yet, but here we are. So that was all last night. This morning, Kyle woke up still planning on targeting Steph. And Kyle also was like, I barely slept last night. Like, this is really stressing me out. This dude needs a nap because he has lost his damn mind. So Kyle is trying to figure out what he's going to tell Steph. Because again, he wants to warn the nominees that they're going up on the block. And he's like, I got to tell her that she's the target, blah, blah, blah. And her mom's like, do you need to tell her that she's the target, though? Like, you don't need to tell her she's a target. But Kyle is thinking that Steph is going to freak the freak out. Yeah, probably. Wouldn't you? So Herman, he seems really concerned about this whole thing blowing up because he is also in the Retreat Alliance and the Savage 7 Alliance. He thinks that before they do this, they should try and solidify something with JC-Lynn, because if the Retreat Alliance is no more, they need to make sure that they still have JC-Lynn at least. So Herman's also saying we got to tell the Savage 7 about the Retreat because we don't want this blowing up in our faces when they find out about it. Like, they need to hear it from us first. So this morning, Kyle and Herman were having conversations with people in the Savage 7, being like, okay, so we were in this alliance called the Retreat. It was BS. We just made it for numbers, but we are definitely fully loyal to the Savage 7. And Kyle was saying, I'm reinforcing my loyalty to the 7 by not putting any of you up. And then he was revealing, I'm putting up Betty and Steph. Steph is the target. And Kyle was asking the Savage 7 members for safety until jury. That's what I think about that. All right. So it's getting crazy. And then at one point, Betty checks in with Kyle again. And Kyle lets her know that she's going up on the block. He's like, I love you as a person, but, you know, we just haven't talked as much game as I have with others. And Betty is still being like, is there anything that I can do to change your mind? Like, is there somebody else that can go up? Blah, blah. And Kyle's like, no, like, I got to do this. So Betty says, I get it. It's way better to know ahead of time. And then Kyle doesn't reveal who's going up next to Betty, but he says that the other person probably is not going to take it as well as her. So just like make sure her relationships with people are good and, you know, she could still stay. Okay, so then Kyle talks to Jess, and Kyle lets Jess know they are not going up on the block. And they tell Jess, or he tells Jess, you deserve to be here. And Jess is like, thank you. They talk about how they're both going to go down as legends this season. It's only week 3. What? And Kyle says, we are the 2 strongest people in this house. Canada deserves much better than to see me take a shot at you week 3. Canada deserves to see 2 heavyweights go at it when the lights are the brightest. I just can't handle Kyle's inflated ego sometimes. It's so much. So Jess is saying they're grateful. They want to work with Kyle and Marty. They really appreciate that, you know, neither of them put Jess up on the block these last 2 weeks. So they really want to solidify something there. All right. So then a little later, it's time to really get into things here because Kyle has spent the morning telling most of the house what's about to go down. But 2 of the last people to find out were JC-Lynn and Steph. So Kyle lets JC-Lynn know that Steph is going up on the block. And JC-Lynn's like, are you joking? Like, she was very shocked to hear this. And Kyle says, yeah, I'm sorry. He says, no, I'm not joking. A lot of people have been bringing up Steph's name to me as a target. And they've been saying that they like you, but you're getting dragged into this because you're seen as a duo with Steph. And people are looking in our direction because of Steph. So we need to get rid of her so we don't draw as much attention to us. This whole explanation really seems to resonate with JC-Lynn. She does not want to be seen as a duo with Steph. So she really sees where Kyle is coming from with this. And Kyle is telling JC-Lynn, I think you're an asset. I don't want to have to put you up on block, blah, blah, blah. And then Kyle starts talking about wanting to pull Jess in to work with them. And JC-Lynn seems to really like this idea. So Kyle says, we can be solid with Herman, Gino, Jess, Marty, Helena, and Kevin. He's trying to come up with a new majority alliance here. So JC-Lynn is then like, all right, before Jay left, I was hearing some stuff. Jay was saying that there could potentially be a guys alliance, so I wanted to ask you about it. And of course, Kyle denies it. He's like, no, the guys just get along. What? Crazy. So a little later, Kyle finally talks to Steph. And the feeds were not on them for the beginning of their conversation. But when the feeds did switch to them, Steph is pissed. Kyle explains it's a numbers thing, and I've been hearing that you would target me. And Steph is like, is this because of what Moose said? And if you go back, Kyle had that plan a few days ago that he wanted Gino to approach JC-Lynn and say, hey, I heard from Moose that you and Steph are targeting me and Kyle the first chance you get. So I'm assuming that conversation happened at some point, because it must have been when the feeds were down, because now Steph knows that Moose was saying this. So she's like, is this because of what Moose said? And Kyle says, I've heard it from like 4 or 5 different people. So Steph says, that's crazy, because I haven't said anything negative about you. I would never have targeted you. We're in an alliance. Like, who is saying this? Kyle is not giving names, except he does confirm Moose was one of those people. So Stephanie says, that's wild. Who am I going up against? And Kyle says, Betty. So then Stephanie says, oh, so I'm basically staying. And Kyle says, yeah. Oh my God! Why would she just assume that she's staying against Betty? What? So Steph says this is effed up. So our alliance is done. Like, why didn't you come and talk to me about this if you had questions for me? And Kyle was like, I didn't know if I could trust you or not because of all these things I was hearing, blah, blah, blah. So then Steph asks, am I your target? And Kyle says, I don't know where we stand, which means yes. So Steph keeps saying, and she's like heated during this conversation, I want to note. Steph is like, we're in an alliance. I'm not targeting you, blah, blah, blah. So then she decides she wants to bring Moose into this conversation because she's hearing that Moose has been spreading these lies about her. So Steph goes to grab Moose and she's like, I need you to come in here. Like, you're talking so much shit on my name. Ah! So Moose comes in with them. And Steph is yelling at Moose. Everyone is saying that you're throwing my name around. You're the common denominator here. Moose is just like, what? I never said that Kyle shouldn't trust you. I said that your name was a name that Kyle should probably consider for his game. What? I feel like he's just rewording that to sound less bad, but it's like still not great. I don't know. But this conversation with Moose, Steph, and Kyle goes on for a while, and Moose was just deny. Both Steph and Moose seem to be looking to Kyle for answers during this conversation, and Kyle looked like he was going to crap his pants. He was not expecting this to blow up in this way with Moose. I don't think he was expecting that. But after that yelly conversation was over, Moose is wondering, who threw me under the bus to Steph? Who told her that I was saying she was going to target Kyle? Like, what's going on here? It was Kyle. But Moose is thinking maybe it was Herman. So then Kyle continues to be an absolute mess after that. First of all, he's shook by how good of a liar Moose is. He saw that on full display in that conversation with Steph. And Kyle was talking to Gino and Marty, trying to think about the numbers, see what's going on. And Kyle is like, all right, this is how I see things. The other side of the house is Betty, Herman, Moose, Josh, Tanisha, and Summer. So in Kyle's mind, the other side of the house is all of the people of color except for Helena. Are you serious? Like, really? Does he not see what he's doing here? That's bad. I don't know if, like, he's thinking there's a cookout situation going on this season or what, but this is not a good look. And it's interesting because I've noticed the house guests this season are talking so much about optics, and I don't think that they're using that word correctly either, but they've used the word optics so many times, and they're not even seeing the optics here and what this looks like. But Kyle is then saying he's considering nominating Herman or Moose instead of Stephanie. He's just going to go to Steph and be like, oh, somebody gave me the runaround and I didn't realize that they were turning me against you, blah, blah, blah. You're really going to change your mind after that freaking blow up with Steph? Oh my God. So after, talking to people a bit, it seems like he was still leaning towards nominating Betty and Steph, but with Moose or Herman as a possible backdoor. And at first it seemed like he was really against Herman because Moose was all like, I think that Herman threw me under the bus, blah, blah, blah. But then Kyle had a chat with Herman, and Herman kind of like brought Kyle back to earth a little bit. But now Kyle is leaning more towards Moose as the backdoor target. So that's just like the regular stuff. But then consider too, there is that safety twist this week. So Canada has voted for one of the house guests to get safety. Can you imagine if Betty is the safe house guest this week and then Kyle has to pick another nominee, like pretty much on the spot? What would he do? Would he put Moose up with Steph? I don't know. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. It's going to be really, really interesting. We're going to see how the safety twist affects things. I think somebody was saying that the feeds are down now. Are they still down? Maybe they are doing the twist reveal and the nominations now. But if you guys want to check back later, I will post all of that in the info for the spoiler when we find out. This is a whole disaster. It's a mess. We'll see what happens. I don't know. And, power veto competition tomorrow. Oh, my goodness. I hear a puppy. Yay!
I heard a log jam in the dark. He decided that he was going to stop short right in front of me.
I can't see.
He said, it's Friday night.
Yes! All right. So I want to thank our super chatter today, Jefferson Tucker. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support, as always. Yeah, Kyle's.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm worried for Kyle's brain. The HOH-itis has taken over. A mess, a whole mess. So thank you all so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you tomorrow for more mess. So until then, much love. Bye.
Oh.